Verse 51, Sri Vishnu Sahasranaam. There are 11 names in this verse. Dharmagup, Dharmakrit Dharmi, Sat, Asat, Ksharam, Aksharam, Avignata, Sahasramshuhu, Vidhata, Kritalakshanaha. Dharmagup means protector of Dharma, one who protects Dharma, upholds Dharma, protects the people following Dharma is called Dharmagup. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord made an emphatic declaration. Thus he is born again and again to protect and to re-establish Dharma. This is very famous verse 8 of chapter 4. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. This is the last line. The entire verse reads like this. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That means age after age, in every cycle of the cosmic time, every cycle of the cosmic time, Mahavishnu manifests as one or the other avatara to protect dharma. The one who protects dharma is obviously also the one who upholds dharma. He follows dharma. Dharmakrit. Dharmakrit is doer of dharma, one who acts as per dharma. That means all his actions will be in conformity with the dharma, principles of dharma. Though Mahavishnu, as absolute consciousness, is beyond all dharma and adharma, he exemplifies righteousness by his own conduct, by setting a direction, by being a role model. So he is called Dharma Pravartakaha. In various incarnations, Mahavishnu exemplified how the particular generation should live following the Yuga Dharma, the ever changing kaleidoscopic pattern of circumstances that play around us all the times. Rama is a best example and role model of one how we should lead a righteous life, a life in conformity with Dharma. He follows Dharma, and by being a role model, he becomes a supporter of Dharma, Dharmi. Supporter of Dharma is called Dharmi. Support of Dharma meaning the very seat of all Dharma. Just as the waves exist in the ocean, just as the cotton supports the cloth, just as all the ornaments are made from gold, so also Mahavishnu is the very essence and support of Dharma, which is the foundation of the entire universe. In Gita Mahatya, there is a very nice sloka. It says, Gita Shraye Aham Tishtami Gita Mecha Uttamam Gruham Gita Gnanam Upasritya Trin Lokan Palayami Aham. Krishna says, Mahavishnu is telling Goddess Lakshmi, he says, I reside in the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is my best abode. I protect the three words with the knowledge of the Gita. The essence of Dharma is Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu therefore declares that Bhagavad Gita is itself his abode. Being a protector of Dharma, he is the one without any change over time. Sat. Sat is defined as that which remains the same without any change in and through all changes. It remains unaffected ever, although it is the substratum of a changing world. It itself never undergoes any change. It is the same which was in the past, which is in the present, and which will continue to be in future. That which existed in the distant past, that which is present now, and that will continue to exist in the same unchanged form, even in the distant future, that is called Sat. Sat is the same ever in all things and all the beings. For example, the sun exists. The space, the space between the sun and earth exists. The ocean and creatures therein exist. The physiological organs and their functions, mind and its activities, the intellect and its educations, all these exist. But all these are not permanent. What is permanent is Sat. The ever present principle of existence is Sat. We can also call it Satya. The Supreme Brahman is indicated as Satya. That's why we say truth is God. There's no difference between Brahman, Supreme, God, Satya, and Sat. The changeless factor, this very changeless factor behind every changing matter, is also beautifully described in Bhagavad Gita, verse 17 of chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. One of the most important chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the very second chapter, pretty long, about 72 verses. It says, Avinashi tu tatvidhi ena sarvam idam tatam. Bhagavan is telling, Krishna is telling Arjuna, understand, know that the all pervading and omnipresent as indestructible. None can cause destruction of this imperishable. It is Avinashi. Nobody can cause destruction of this. And this Avinashi is present everywhere. Ena sarvam idam tatam, with which the entire universe is present. It is all pervading, it is omnipresent. It is indestructible, imperishable. None can cause destruction of this imperishable. This is called Atma, Paramatma, Brahman, whatever name you call. This indestructible and eternal Supreme is Mahavishnu. The ever changing, the impermanent world, what about it? Is it different from Mahavishnu? No. It is also his manifestation, but it is called Asat because it is ever changing and impermanent. It is conditioned. It is limited by time and space and causation. The one who appears at this moment as limited, as conditioned, and therefore confined only to the world of reality. This is also a manifestation of the Supreme. That which actually is not, but apparently seems to be there, is called delusion or asat. It is there. For example, we are very much existing. We are living, we are breathing, we are talking. So, we are not that we are not there. We are very much there. But we are not going to be there forever. So, the human bodies, living beings, the entire universe is called Asat. It is something like a Maya. The higher self, Param, we call it Param. The higher self is ever immutable and eternal, whereas the lower self, Aparam, it is constituted of all the beings and things in this manifested universe. These are all mutable, ephemeral, temporary, not permanent. Narayana himself, in his apara nature, is expressing as the world of many. Now, this apara prakriti, para prakriti, there are two things. Apara prakriti is also Bhagwan, also the same Supreme. Krishna clarifies to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, verse 19 of chapter 9. Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yogaha Sat Asat Cha Aham Arjuna. Aham, O Arjuna, Aham Sat Cha Asat. I am at one and the same time, I am immortality and also mortality. I am both existence and non existence. Because there is nothing in this universe which is outside or which is other than the Supreme Being. Since the impermanent is also his manifestation, he is called Kshara. He is called Ksharam. Ksharam means perishable. One who is the very immutable self, imperishable, indestructible self, also appears subject to constant mutation, constant change. The changeless core is in the midst of all the changes. The Supreme is the changeless core in the midst of all the changes. All the changeable and variable things and beings lay in Him, who is the only substratum. These are like the images on a screen in a movie theater. The screen is the substratum, is the basis, is permanent. But images, songs, the joys and sorrows, the tragedies, all that we see on the screen, we know they are only temporary. The moment the movie is over, we see nothing but a white screen. It is something like this. The Ksharam is very much there when it is there. The moment the play ends, it goes. So in Jagannataka, in called Vishwanataka, same situation prevails. And he is the Sutradhari for the Jagannataka. The waves which are born, which grow, which exist, they also fall back. But they are not different from the changeless ocean, which relatively is permanent. Compared to the waves, the ocean is permanent. They are not different. They rise from there, they float, they remain there, they move there, and they fall back there. So, what is the wave? The wave and the ocean are not different. That one is Kshara, other is Akshara. Similarly, the beings, objects which we see here, that is a perishable part, and the Supreme Being is imperishable. So, the beings and universe supported by him is Ksharam, but he remains the imperishable, Aksharam, imperishable substratum, Aksharam. In order to recognize this change, for example, we see the entire world is changing. To see, to say that something is changing, it must be against the backdrop, against the background of something which is not changing. Unless the backdrop is there which is changing, we will not be able to perceive any change whatsoever. So there must be a changeless entity which is behind it, which is knowing it. If one ornament is to become another, there must be some changeless, consistent gold permanently supporting it all the time. The gold remains in the old ornament, it remains in new ornament. But without its supporting gold, there cannot be ornament. Neither one ornament can become another ornament. No. So the Paramatma is a changeless essential core that holds together the constant changes which together constitute the play of the universe. This changeless factor, we can call it Vishnu or Shiva or Shakti. Bhagavad Gita talks of both these Kara and Akshara together in one verse. That is verse 16 of chapter 15, Purushottama Prapti Yoga. Dvavimau Purushau Loke Kshara cha Akshara eva cha. Dvavimau Purushau Loke Kshara cha Akshara eva cha. Ksharaha Sarvani Bhutani Kutastha Akshara Uchyate. Ksharaha Sarvani Bhutani Kutastokshara Uchyate. There are only these two beings, two Purushas in this world. One is perishable, other is imperishable. And what is perishable? The perishable is all the beings, objects. And what is imperishable? The imperishable is the Kutastha, the immutable, which is supporting the Kshara, which is the backdrop of the Kshara. Krishna says, I am both. Krishna says, I am both Kshara and Akshara. He remains the non-knower, the non-knowable Avignata, beyond both Kshara and Akshara. Avignata, it means non-knower, not knowable. The knower of the emotions and thoughts is the self, imprisoned in the body, mind, and intellect, therefore functioning as the perceiver, the feeler, the thinker, called a jiva. We always identify with I think. We say I think, I feel, I act, I do, I sleep, I eat. Who is telling this? Same supreme, but it is identifying with the body, mind, intellect. So we call it the small I, the lower self. The individualized personality is a doer or the enjoyer. The Lord, but the Lord is a pure self who is not contaminated by the matter, vestures, and the agitated nature and the consequent sorrows. Vishnu, he remains within us. He remains the pure self, the higher self, the capital I, which is beyond both Kshara and Akshara. This is called Avignata, the non-knower. Now, Bhagavad Gita verse 18, immediately after what we just now see on the earlier name, it says, I transcend, I am beyond, I transcend both the perishable and I am even higher than the imperishable. Imperishable is higher than the perishable, but the supreme is beyond both. I transcend the perishable and even higher than the imperishable. Therefore, I am proclaimed in the world and in the Veda as the supreme being, Purusha Uttama. I am called Purushottama. So, to attain him is the Purushottama Prapti. This is the essence of Purushottama Prapti Yoga, which is one of the most important chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yasmat Ksharam Atitah Aham says Yasmat Ksharam Atitah Aham. I am beyond the Ksharam. Aksharam Apicha Uttamaha. Not only Aksharam, I am beyond Aksharam Api. Aksharam also. यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतः therefore अस्मि लोके in this world अस्मि वेदे in these Vedas prathitah purushottamah well known as purushottamah यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः. He is the one beyond Kshetra or Pura and also the Kshetragna and Purusha. Kshetra or Pura, Kshetragna or Purusha, he is beyond both this. Thus, transcending both Kshara and Akshara, he enlivens the universe with his thousand rays as the sun. Thousand symbolically means a large number, unlimited, infinite number. As a pure consciousness, he is effulgent, and even the sun, moon, stars, fire, Agni, all of them get their effulgence from him alone. All living creatures are resplendent because of his effulgence only. This also is a verse in chapter 15, verse 12. Yat yat adityagatam tejah jagat bhasayate akhilam yat chandramasi yat cha agno tat tejah vidhi mamakam. The light residing in the sun, which illumines the entire world, the light which is in the moon, the glow which is in the fire, no, all that to be mine. Yadadityagatam tejaha jagadbhasayate khilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamakam. So Narayana, in the form of Sahasranaam, the sun, illumines and nourishes the entire world. The sun god is therefore addressed as Surya Narayana. Surya Narayana. Thus, he is the sole supporter of the universe. Vidhata, universal supporter, supporter of the entire universe. As the final substratum for everything, Lord supports the entire universe of living creatures. And nobody needs to support him. He alone, he is his own support. The Lord is at once the material, the instrumental, and the efficient cause for the universe of forms. He is called the Karana, Karana, and everything, Nimitta Karana. All are only the same Supreme. He has all the great qualities of what we call Bhagavan, Krita Lakshanaha. Bhagavan is one having six qualities: glory, righteousness, fame, wealth, knowledge, and most important, detachment. So Narayana is the one who made Maharishi Bhrigu to touch his own bosom with his feet and leave an imprint or a great mark there. That mark is called Lakshana. The term Krita Lakshana indicates the ever existing pure consciousness, which is the very goal of liberation, very object of liberation, very destination for which we all strive and struggle through meditation, sadhana. Lakshana also denotes the scriptural textbooks, and therefore the term can also mean one who is the author, Krita, author of the scriptures. So Lakshana means the Vedas, and he is the one who has written the Vedas. He is the one who is the creator of the Vedas. So he is Krita Lakshana. With this, we'll conclude this verse. सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति